Okay, hey everyone. My name is Mihir. I'm with Royal Circuits. Kind of different being on a one-sided chat by myself, but we'll do the best that we can. So let me just ask a quick, can everybody hear me? Can somebody just ping in the hack chat? Great, so you guys can hear me. Awesome. Okay, so just before we kind of get into a lot of the questions, what I wanted to do is just give a brief overview of kind of who I am and what we do at our business. Again, like I said, my name is Mihir. I am an electrical engineer. I was a design engineer at Tesla and Taser prior to joining Royal Circuits. And a lot of people might think that that's a bit of an odd jump to go from an R&D design engineer to a manufacturing shop. A bit of interesting insight is that this company is owned by my dad. So it's a family business my dad started about 20 years ago. And we're one of the largest quick turn board shops and assembly shops in the United States today, purely focused on ultra quick turn prototype printed circuit board, fab, and assembly. Meaning we do boards in like 1 to 3 days, bare boards, and we do assembly in 1 to 3 days. We don't need reels, we accept cut tape, etc. So that's our whole business, almost 400 employees around the globe, 4 factories here in the United States. I'm sitting currently in our flex and rigid flex shop down in Los Angeles. So we have a shop in LA, a shop in the Bay Area, well, 2 shops in the Bay Area, Fab Assembly, and then another assembly shop in Denver. And that company is called Advanced Assembly, which a lot of you guys may have heard of because it's more of the brand name of the group. So that's the quickest turn we ever did. Okay. I'll just do the quickest turnkey because I think that's really a point of interest to kind of go over. Sebastian just asked, what's the quickest turn you've ever done? So from recent memory, about 3 weeks ago, I think that was probably amongst the quickest turns in terms of relative to the complexity of the design itself. We did the boards in about 8 hours overnight. It was a 4-layer board, but just 1 lamination cycle. So we had those done overnight. I got the call at 5 p.m. from the customer. This is a big Silicon Valley customer. These guys call at 5 o'clock in the evening, and they give me a call, and I say, hey, I need 50 pieces, full turnkey. I need these assembled and in my hands before 5 p.m. tomorrow. Meaning we have to fab the boards, we have to get them, we have to order all the parts from DigiKey or Mauser or whatever. We have to fully assemble them, and we have to deliver them to San Francisco. We did it in about 20 hours, but each of the components was the fab was done in about 8 hours. The assembly was done in 5 hours. Meaning we fabbed the boards, did them overnight because we run 3 shifts. We had ordered the parts once we scanned the BOM. We have our own API, somewhat integrated with Dr. Part and a few other different groups that we've written ourselves that does a full BOM scan, source, and parse. We got those files. The boards were shipped. The parts were ordered. They started to be assembled, and then we got them back to the customer in hand by about 2 to 3 p.m. So we did them in about 20 to 22 hours, full turnkey, including shipping, including ordering parts, and just getting them fully assembled, doing the DFM, DFA, all real time. So that's the answer on that. The smallest order, Chris Sullivan asked, what's the smallest order volume you will handle? So like I said before, our whole business is completely focused around ultra quick turn prototype PCB fab and assembly, meaning we will literally do 1 board in 1 day if you like. Obviously, depending on the complexity. If you give me a 12-layer board or 3 lamination cycles, not going to happen in a day, but certainly within a week. So the smallest order volume, the answer is 1 piece for fab and or assembly. No problem. So what's the scale of your production? What if everyone at DEF CON orders and expects 3-day turn time? No problem. So like I said, we have 4 factories, and each of them, sure. Yeah, sure, come here. So someone's asking, so they just asked what's the quickest turn time. So this is the actual owner of all the businesses, my dad, Millen. He's down in LA today. We're doing the Hack Chat live. You can't actually see anyone on that end.
Oh, okay.
But these are the questions. Someone just asked a great question. So what's the scale of your production? What if everyone at DEF CON orders and expects 3-day turns? DEF CON is next week, August 8th through 11th. Dan just said hi, Millen.
Hi, how are you?
We spoke with Dan last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if everybody ordered DEF CON, that's no problem.
Well, we have 70 engineers, so we can tool a lot of jobs in a single shift, if you will. We have 70 CAM
more than
engineers.
anyone in the United States, and we own that whole group. We do not outsource any of that to random firms.
That's usually the biggest bottleneck, running the DFM, DRC checks, and then getting the job tooled. Plus, we can gang a lot of the jobs on the same panel. So we can have multiple jobs like Oshpark on the same panel. So yeah, if 200 people placed orders, it would put a little bit of strain, but it wouldn't be impossible to produce them on a 3-day run. Certainly on a 1-day turn, it would be challenging. On a 3-day turn or a 5-day turn, absolutely not an issue.
Yeah, and that's for fab and assembly as well, because like I said, we do both, and so it would be no problem at all as long as the inputs are clean. So that's kind of the answer on that. On average, so Sebastian asks, on average, how many jobs? Wait, Dan's thing.
We're doing 120 jobs in Hollister. We're probably doing.
On average, how many jobs can you process in a day throughout all of your facilities?
So we do 120 jobs in the fab shop.
Just in the shop up there.
Just in bare boards. We do about 40 assembly jobs per day, and we do roughly, I would say, 15 or 20 flex shop jobs a day. So that's
on the low. Yeah, and these are the jobs could be
high mix.
Yes, all high mix, all unique. That's kind of the scale, but we still have capacity and we could do more. And a lot of it's dependent on the technology and kind of
I mean,
so hundreds of jobs a day, unique, all requiring different technology, are going through all of our factories every single day. That's the answer to that one, to Sebastian. So far the questions that we gotten are, how quick can you do things? It's like same day. Do you guys prefer ODB++ or Gerbers? We accept both. I guess you could say we prefer Gerbers because our original CAM scripts, a lot of them were written for that, but ODB++ is actually great.
It's actually the best format.
Everything in one, so we prefer that. And we can even go a step further and accept native CAD, but the step to conversion is easy, so you might as well do it on your end just to make sure everything's safe. And what we found with our literal tens and tens of thousands of unique customers, Gerber is still the de facto standard. It may be different when you kind of look at your microcosm or community, but on large, across customers across industries, 90+% of people still submit Gerbers. However, we don't mind either, and ODB++ is more all-encompassing. So that's the answer to the preference to Mike. Can you guys do box build, final assembly, and testing?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sebastian asked, can you guys do box build, final assembly, and testing? Yes, we can. We have all those facilities in-house, and we will do box build, final assembly, and testing. And generally, people do those on more of the mid-volume runs. It's just more economical that way. But, yeah, we do that. That's that. And just to kind of, I guess, go back and for anybody that's joined most recently, questions were, how fast can you do things? We did a full turnkey job, fab, order parts, assembly, everything in less than 22 hours just a couple of weeks ago, and that's a regular occurrence for us. Quick same-day turns on fab and assembly.
Partner with companies like DigiKey.
Yeah, we're DigiKey's 4th largest customer in the United States by unique line items, meaning our whole business is so just streamlined and built around high mix. So every single day, we're literally getting hundreds of unique part numbers, Gerbers, ODB++, bombs, all in different formats. And we've built a kind of whole system largely driven by software that we've written in-house around handling all that. Actually, I'll type in one of the things, and I'll type up answers to all this. Sorry, I haven't been doing that on the live chat. So this is a site that's started out kind of as a test, but it's actually gotten a cool amount of adoption. Priority PCB is just an API that we've written that's public that you guys can send me an email if you want the kind of special link for the advanced documentation for, and you can essentially start selling boards on your own site powered by us on the back end. Hayden asked, the max board layer possible, does board layer affect turn time? So answer that question, max layer possible, we've really done 40 layer boards. 30 layer, 40 layer. So pretty high end. The board layers affect turn time, but the real answer to why that is because of the number of lamination cycles. And generally when you have a lot of board layers, like certainly over 8, you're going to have internal vias and different blind buried vias and different drill cycles, back drilling, laser drilling. So all these different drill cycles and lamination, meaning you have to do the board and all these kind of sub-assemblies.
They impact
the turn time because you have multiple times that you need to sit in the press.
Or specialty material.
Yeah, or specialty material. But generally, board layer does affect turn time, but only when it directly correlates to the number of lamination cycles that you have. So you can have a 4 and 2 layer board that won't really be any different on turn time. Same with 6 layer. Generally, when you get to 8, you find the buried and blind vias. So I'm thinking of using a Maxim chip. This is Paul's question. Hayden, hopefully I answered your question. Paul asked, I'm thinking of using a Maxim chip, which only comes in a wafer scale package, 36 balls at 0.4 millimeter pitch. Any guidance, or should I avoid that part for a small volume? So actually, Maxim is totally okay, and we can 100% do those. That's fine. If you have a different chip that you could use that may not require an X-ray or some sort of additional check and like level of detail, that would be good. But that would be good.
The trick is that we have the automatic paste printers, and that does such a great job with the pasting.
That's really what it is.
The easy part.
Yeah, so that's one of the secrets of what we do at our shop. We don't use stencils. Like 90+% of our jobs do not use stencils, meaning 2 things. One, we don't need to waste time and money brokering out a stencil from a local shop, because we have these 2 paste printers where we put the cost up front. These each are $600,000. They do incredibly high resolution and precise paste deposition on the pads. And it's all driven by our software that pulls from the Gerber and the bill of materials. So you're actually getting a very accurate X, Y, and Z axis deposition for all the different pads, and it's done in real time. And you don't pay a second setup fee or a stencil cost, because once we have your files, if you do that again, it's done. So
and you don't struggle from insufficient paste or excessive paste, which is often the case with tight packages, because you either end up with shorts or opens. But with the automatic paste printers, they are just literally scientific driven, if you will. Very, very precise.
Yeah. So just to answer now Tim's question, for moving towards high density designs, what's a good technology progression with respect to cost? 8 mil vias, 6 layer, laser vias, blind buried. I mean, it's really, first you got to decide what works for your product. It's all of the above. It's like,
we see all of the above.
8 mil vias, and then he's saying, okay, well then
6 mil vias have become standard nowadays.
Yeah, 6 mil
6
vias.
layer is not a problem.
That's a good question, Tim. Yeah.
Laser micro vias are 5 mil.
He's saying, where's the big price jumps? And really, it goes by number of lamination cycles as you increase.
Blind and buried vias would be the price jump.
Really, just in general, you have none. You have all through-hole vias, and you're going directly to blind buried. That's immediately going to be the biggest price jump, just because now you've added an extra drill cycle, and what that's done is not only added machine time but also labor time, the detail, and then you have to make sure it laminates correctly. You don't have any shifting over there, so it's just all the different considerations that come after. Yeah, 2 lam cycles, etc. That's why. So generally, blind buried vias is a big price jump.
Yeah.
The other one is when you go, 5 day, 7 day. Those are all kind of standard for us. Like that's almost slow. 3 days is like good. You see a small price increase. Where you really see the price increases on the 1 day turns, where it is heavily dependent on real-time input from the shop and the complexity of your build.
Plus we incur overtime.
And you have overtime cost incurred just trying to push that thing through with certain jobs, etc. So how do laser vias compare with, say, 6 mil drills or jumping to 6 or 8 layers perhaps? So he's like, you have laser vias, what's that cost at compared to just having 6 mil drills, which is standard?
No, but laser vias are not through-hole vias, they're micro vias.
Correct.
So 8 mil vias, 6 mil vias, 6 mils have become standard, so there's really not much cost differential. Laser vias are micro vias. It's a special process. It's a specialty process. So therefore, there is a cost adder for that. And then, like Mihir's been explaining, that the blind and buried vias are impacted by number of vias, number of blinds, number of buried, and number of lamination cycles and drill cycles. So all of that is machine time, which will become a cost adder.
Yeah. And then we missed one question. Chris Sullivan asked, so you do prototypes. Do you make end products for clients? If so, name a well-known product.
Tesla. We don't make
I mean,
we make boards.
Yeah, boards, end products. I mean, if you've seen those Apple signs at all the Apple stores,
we just
do those.
We just
the
do
big
circuit
ones
boards,
with the lights. But generally, our main thing, we're not really involved in the full end product, doing all that stuff. We are super focused and driven on the bare board and assembly. So Tim K, yeah, thanks for the answer. If you're an equity research analyst, please leave my name out of that. You mentioned paste deposition. Would it be possible to add extra paste to accommodate the wicking action of a via in a pad? Yeah, we can modify that absolutely in the file itself. And the beauty of that is we're not just some guy using a stencil. We could do that, take your notes into accordance, but we'd also be able to, like, we have a lot of learned knowledge, and a lot of that's actually built and fed back into the software because we have such a high mix and high volume of different jobs. We do that, and we x-ray all orders with SMT first article, and we adjust as necessary. So everything that has a first article or something like that, we x-ray, we do the first article, and then we adjust after that if there were any issues. So you would be the beneficiary of just us doing the work up front, and that's kind of how we do our business. That's another thing to note. The idea of a first article in this business is very foreign because it's very costly. And first of all, there's probably like 2 other assembly shops, maybe. I can't even name it off the top of my head that does.
And it removes the risk.
Quick turn like that, but it removes the risk. Meaning, if you're like, hey, I got 20 boards, I need full turnkey, but fab all boards, but just assemble 1 or two or whatever, ship it to us, let you test it, and then you might find that holy crap, all those 47 microfarad capacitors, I need to then change it to a 22 microfarad, and that saves you a lot of time from doing the hand rework or sending it back and having us charge you again. And we would just make that change on the fly with the pick and place in the system and done. So sort of an inkjet printer for solder paste. How fine can that apply? Dan Maloney asked, paste printer. So sort of an inkjet printer for solder paste. How fine can that apply?
I want to say it goes down to the point to 4 mil, actually 3 mil pads. It'll go down to 3 mil pad.
we go even as
smaller.
far as I know, we go a lot smaller than that. But it depends because we're doing even BGA.
They can look up a My 700.
That's generally what we're using.
My 700.
Yeah, let me
Micronic.
So yeah, 0.033 inches. So 3 mil pad. Yeah. I just typed it in, but basically, yeah, we're using those. So you can go down to 3 mil. So 0.033 inches is the deposition and the accuracy on that, and then other stuff we kind of have a more fine process for things that are, 30 mil. Speaking of processing files from a wide variety of PCB tools programs, this is what David's asking. Speaking of processing files from a wide variety of PCB tools programs, do you prefer the paste and solder mask openings on surface mount pads to be 1-to-1 aspect ratio to the pad, or grown automatically in the Gerber file sent to you?
1-to-1 ratio.
1-to-1's fine. We're going to be doing a little bit of the adjusting, and anytime we make any sort of adjustment to your files, we let you know. And the big reason that board shops need to do this is because if you then take that to production and go somewhere else, and we made a change that was necessary for our process or for your own electrical conductivity or whatever, you'd want to know about the change that we made. So when you go somewhere else, you'd be able to do it. Ideally, you stay with us for everything, but if you have 10 million units, you could use our adjustments to kind of make a better decision on the manufacturing going forward. So to answer your question, we prefer the thing to have a 1-to-1 aspect ratio to the pad. David. And I'm going to go back and I'll just kind of write the question and answer to all these afterwards. Maybe I'll just put up a document and I'll submit it all just so people can reference it, maybe a little easier. But to answer these is kind of easier to do it on file. So how do you compete with China? Sebastian asked this question. So
we focus and specialize in prototypes and quick turns. And high mix or high technology boards as well. I mean, we do a lot of simple 2, 4, 6 layers, but we do a lot of 10, 20, 30 layer boards as well. And what engineers prefer is if they have somebody local, they want to make sure that they're able to communicate in the same time zones, if you will, and be able to answer or mitigate any hold issues that might come up. There's no unforeseen delays, and the quality and the integrity of the product is much higher because they've been involved in the process all along, domestically.
Yeah, I mean, generally, the biggest differentiator that you get with us in China is, one, if you need boards the same day or in 1 day or in 2 days or even 3 days, that's something. 3 days is getting tough. China is doing actually okay on that. But 3 days for even a complex build, you have to go in the United States. Part two is any sort of IP related stuff that you don't want to send out of the country, or any military stuff you cannot send out of the country, that will be done here domestically. But the big thing that you get, especially as you start getting more involved with the shop, if you have a lot of quick turns, is the level of service and the level of attention to detail. I'm kind of working with us, and we are involved in the whole process. There's just no bureaucracy. It's a lot easier to work with us. You can call me at 7 p.m. and get something done. And there's a reason we have over 15,000 active customers choosing us daily here in the United States. And it really is the quality and the level of service and the speed. So Mike asked, what are the common reasons that a job might go on hold?
Missing files.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting point.
One.
So advanced assembly, especially, it's just a more easier stat. 15,000 customers, thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs per year. 98% of jobs that are sent in have some sort of issue on them. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to be hold for a day or even for a few hours. It might be something, but it's something that somebody else needs to have a second opinion on a review. And of those, 90% of the issues are not later on in the process. They're all in the beginning with the files. Generally, it's some sort of discrepancy between your Gerber's, your board file, and your bill of materials, and then the part. Meaning you have on your board a footprint for an 0603 package, but then your bill of materials says it's an 0402, but then the manufacturing part number says it's an 0201, which is maybe an extreme example, but actually this happens every single day, even with incredibly high-end companies and engineers, not just hobbyists. So this happens all the time, and we don't know what's right, so we have to put things on hold. The good thing is we have an automated DFA system that we've written in-house over the last few years, really what the company's been built on, that finds these and checks these and verifies instantly. And then we send you a list of all the different issues that you might have, so you can quickly say, oh, that's fine, change this, swap out this part number, go. And then we just keep things moving. Before we order the parts. Before we order the parts and before we even charge you for stuff, that's done free instantly.
On the fab side, it's generally missing files again, like you're missing the drill file. You're missing the fabrication print, or the fabrication print is not clear and
or consistent with the files.
Correct.
Fab note says 8-layer, but we looked at your files and it says a 12-layer board. This happened last week. Which one's right? Usually we're going to go off the board file, but maybe you submitted the wrong file, and that happens every single day. So that's kind of the deal on that. So in the same, Tim K asked, in the same vein of David's questions, what about doing USB trace impedance? If I don't know your stack up, it's pretty time consuming. Can you adjust the traces from the Gerbers easily? What's the best way to avoid time wasting? That's a really great question, Tim. The answer is yes.
Dedicated to doing
we have in-house, we have two full, well, in addition to our 70 engineers doing CAM and the processing and the sourcing and everything, we have in-house 2 people full-time dedicated to stack up related stuff, generation stack up, etc. The other thing is you can call us, email us, whatever, and say, hey, what should my trace thickness be or the length or whatever to achieve a certain impedance? We have our common stack ups on the website, but also if you ask me, I can redo a stack up for you and give you a custom stack up if you have preferred materials, like different Rogers or Megtron or whatever. And then we'll always just give you suggestions on how you can adjust your stuff easily. So generally you won't have to do it, and we can do it from the Gerbers easily. The best way to avoid time wasting is just to give us an overview of whatever you have at the time, shoot me an email or call me or whatever, and say, hey, here's what I got right now. I need this impedance to be matched to this. Which of my stack will do? Yeah, so we have a software built in-house where we don't use what a lot of other people do, which is the popular stack up stuff, because that's based on more of a mathematical model, which is accurate to a point. But ours uses that math model, and we actually have, you can use machine learning, but in this kind of chat, I guess you'd honestly laughed at for saying that. But we use a lot of historical data, and we've mapped our own model and put that into the function for what the impedances really end up being with our processes using certain materials. So the best way to avoid time is just reach out to us directly. But what I'll do is I'll put a link to where our stackups are online for our simple 2-4-layer standard stacks, and we'll go from there. Sebastian, what kind of fab technology do you support that you consider leading edge? So there's a lot.
Vias, heavy copper boards.
Well, so that's one of the other things about this shop that's very different from everybody else, is that we literally invest more money in our shop per year than many other shops even do in revenue per year. Like the industry is growing. We've been growing like crazy over the past few years, and because we invest in this technology, that's why we're successful. Specifically, laser vias. We have over 7 laser vias. We just bought one last week, over $1 million just for the via 14 watt, 16 watt laser. Super, super precise, can get a ton of holes and traces and cuts done very quickly.
Vision
so that's
drill,
one
vision
big
route.
Yeah, the vision drill, vision route. We have these high-end lens machines, the top of the line, over 600 grand a piece, that do very, very precise drilling, back drilling.
Pulse plating.
We have pulse plating in-house,
Even copper.
meaning a lot of shops will still use DC plating. We have essentially all our tanks upgraded to pulse plating. This is a process where it's not really AC, but it's DC with reverse polarity kind of put in on both sides. And they're all driven by the software, which is driven by the inputs, meaning depending on the board you have, that gets fed from our engineers to the machine. So when it gets there, the operator just makes sure and selects it's the right job, and it'll run a different profile in the actual mixture, meaning a different amount of current, different amount of agitation, different amount of time in the solution. So that's what pulse plating is, laser vias, laser drilling, the lens, vision drill, vision route. We have all the via fill. We just bought the first in the entire United States solder mask printer. So that saves hours on time. And even if you save 2 hours on time, if you're having a 24-hour turn, that's a 10% increase. That's huge for us. For us, time is literally money. So solder mask printer, we are one of the first in the country.
What kind of technology do you support that you consider leading? Well, stacked vias. Yeah,
and if you mean in terms of technology we support, all those things support things like stacked vias, 2 mil trace in space, staggered vias,
copper-filled
vias. One of 2 shops in the United States that does copper-filled vias. We do incredibly heavy copper boards.
Up to 10 ounce copper.
Up to 10 ounce copper we will do, and we stock up to 6 ounce in-house. That's kind of the stuff. So Chris Sullivan asked, do you have a presence in Europe? Do you have European customers? We have hundreds of European customers. We build boards for customers all over Europe.
Who's the customer? Who's Andrew's company?
Well, Circuit Hub.
We're partnered with Circuit Hub.
So that's kind of how it's done on the back end. And they're a great resource, especially, and like saying
we build all their boards.
Same with Oshpark. And it's almost like it's not even a competition. We view them as an asset, and they're a partner to us because you can't get that same level of pricing and that particular package if you come to us directly for some of the really cheap stuff that's incredible high quality. We're simple. Or really simple stuff. You want to go through that avenue, and it ends up being a lot cheaper, right? And so that's kind of I think that answers kind of the last few questions over there. Circuit Hub, which country are they in? They're a European
in London,
in the UK, but they're also all over, and they do boards everywhere. But as far as shipping to Europe and stuff, there's no problem. Can you source and purchase my bomb? Yes, that's our whole business. Is we source, purchase bombs, do all the kitting. Like I said, we're DigiKey's 4th largest customer worldwide, and we have our own API built in that uses actually Octopart and a few other sources to instantly price out your bomb, get availability, etc., pretty much from any input. And that's live on the website right now, on Advanced Assembly site and our site. But if you email it to us, we'll do it just as fast and get you a quote back along with any exceptions that we find. But we do that all day long. We have an entire team dedicated to it. I guess that's the difference when you look at us compared to any other shop. And there's a lot of great shops in this country. It's just the level of service and the lack of bureaucracy is astounding.
We're also known as the board shop. We build and manufacture boards and assembly
for most CMs in this country,
for a lot of our competitors and a lot of fabricators, either because of our speed, because of our quality, because of our technology, or sometimes we can produce it cheaper than they can because of our scale.
So that's that. So logistics must be a huge problem for you, Dan asked. How do you make sure the right stuff is in the right place at the right time? So we have this system built in called Archia that we've written ourselves. And this software that we have a physical element to it in all the shops. It does live tracking of everything. But more importantly, from the beginning, once jobs are sent out, they go through this intense process where this is actually all online now. But this I brought just to give you guys a sense of how complex it is to build a 2-layer board. This is a 2-layer board that we're building, okay?
Simple 2-layer board.
And people want it for $1, which at scale you can get that, but this is what actually goes on in a 2-layer board. All these steps, the reality of making a board like this the steps, the people it has to go through, the machine time, the drilling, the imaging, plating. I mean, this is all real. This is a job that we just ran that I printed out and pulled. And it's crazy.
Multiple steps.
Multiple steps, and a ton of people that this job has to run through no matter what. And so that one's actually a flex job, which is why it's a little longer. But even so, 2-layer boards are very, very long.
About 65 processes.
Yeah, like 60 plus processes it has to go through just to make
Get the board
a 2-layer board where something blinks. So that's kind of the idea on that and how complex that was. So there'll be a recording of this. You can see this, but that's, yeah. And that is custom software that we've written. And that's why a lot of other shops have a hard time competing, because we put a lot of money and time and effort up front on the software side. So we have all the software written in for DFM, DFA, for live tracking of the boards as they go through the shop, for transparency and visibility to the end customer, and just internal logistics. It's all kind of figured out on when things are shipping. We have regular production meetings twice a day. Like, the shop is just run like a well-oiled machine, and it's only getting better as we grow. So
through software and people.
Yeah, through software and just hiring the right people. So that's kind of the answer to that, Dan.
Is that custom software? Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's on that. Here's a even crazier 3-layer flex. Just like, here's like a stack up for a 3-layer flex job. Kind of what that entails.
Is that a rigid flex?
This is it's a rigid flex. And you see different, you have internal vias, you have
Different
through-hole
layers.
vias, different stack ups, stiffeners, flex, all these other things going on with the board. So there's a lot of work involved. And just for everybody else kind of coming in a little late, I'll have answers to this stuff written in.
We specialize in protos, quick turns.
So the API you mentioned, how would I go about integrating that into my software, into your software? So like I wrote before, and like to everyone what I was saying earlier, I'm going to go ahead and, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and type out answers to all the questions that we got here, and I'll upload them in a document just so people can reference them really easily on how fast can you do things. It's same-day turns for fab and assembly. What's the minimum volume? 1 board. We have 4 factories here in the U.S., over 400 employees, 70 CAM engineers that are our own, et cetera. API you mentioned. PriorityPCB.com. So we have all the documentation there. It's a pretty easy thing to just integrate in your own system, and you could build your own UI around it. And then you could start selling boards and generating revenue off that transaction from your website if you'd like. Sort of like a Shopify or a Stripe for PCBs. Because if you have your own customer, if you have your own site and you want to let people order custom boards or a particular package that you're selling, and you just want people to be able to order the bare boards, source the parts, etc., it's just a lot easier to do that on your own, and you might as well collect on that. So there's no reason you can't. We are just focused on building the best boards possible. So we're like, why compete with everyone trying to do the same thing? Just give them the tools to be great in their own sales model, and let us focus on what we do best, which is building boards really well and really, really fast. So that's that. And then one of the other things, if there's no, I don't see any other questions coming in. I'm sure they will. One of the other things about our shop that's a lot different from other people is that we're just like, anything tangential to the manufacturing process, we have our hands in terms of angel investing, for venture capital stuff, for some softwares you may have heard of like SnapEDA and things like that, but also our own businesses and projects that we get involved in. One of them is PCBlayout.com, where we literally just take your schematic file and we'll do the placement, routing, and layout. And also kind of a more long-term thing is we do footprint creation, parts creation for parts that you aren't able to maybe find on SnapEDA or things like that for like $10 to $15 in less than a day. And we have, our own Git models and things that we work with you to get done very, very easily. So this is that one. And then one thing that I really wanted to talk about that I think is like my main focus and point of interest right now is this augmented reality tool for PCB debugging that I think a lot of people in this chat could be a really, really awesome partner and kind of early adopter for. And I'd love to get feedback from anybody in the community on that. So I'll just type that in here, kind of what that is. I wish I could share my screen. It doesn't look like I can on the live stream, and that's okay. But basically, you hover your phone over your board, and you're able to instantly see all the nets, components, and traces, depending on what you uploaded. And you can click on components, and you're just able to debug with today's software. Down the road, want to get everything else involved, including your SPICE simulation models, your oscilloscope reading, your logic analyzer reading, etc. I want all that stuff in one plane. So not only do you have an easier time personally debugging, you're able to then collaborate with other engineers on your team. And then we're going to have a group of engineers and maybe even a platform that you guys can sign on and put office hours on and be people that people can reference and say, hey, take a look at my board, help me debug this thing. Where today, you send a screenshot of your oscilloscope, you send a snapshot of your schematic and your board, and you take a rough picture with your iPhone, etc. Now you have the whole thing in real time. You can share the screen. You can collaborate in a way that you never could have before. So just on that front, it's super exciting. But if you ask why we're getting involved in this stuff, it's like we're so focused for the last 20 years on building boards, assembling boards faster and more effectively than anyone else. But when you come down to it, it comes down to like an obsession with the customer and the entire experience. So why wouldn't we be part of the entire value chain from design through PCBlayout.com, through fab, through assembly, and then what happens when the boards leave the shop and get on someone's desk? Can we continue helping and guiding the customer? And the answer for that one really came in the form of DebuggAR, which is not owned or anything by Royal. That's really my project, but it's something separate that I really think can make a massive impact on the industry. And I really, really would love anyone to field us questions, to sign up for our beta list, etc. So if you go to the site, you can be on the beta, and then if we'll send out additional instructions on how to join the private beta and things like that. So yeah, structuring around a one-stop shop, that's exactly right. I want to be able to help the customer, help the electrical engineer or the company or whatever with everything they need from design through manufacturing, through debug and test, and then the whole circle back. Even if you don't use me, or even if there's something that's outside of our wheelhouse, I want to be somebody that you come to initially that I can point you in the right direction. And that's what we do now. Whether or not you place an order with us, we're for sure going to take the time to talk to you and kind of figure out how can we help this customer get what they need within the realm of our space of PCBs. That's what I got there. I didn't have, well, if you look back, you see a bunch of these other different boards. That's a panel for flex. So generally we run things on 18 by 24 or 21 by 24 inch panels, and that's how pricing is really dictated, how much of a panel you use, which is why Osh Park is so successful, because they basically took that real estate and kind of just did a community model where you're just buying a little piece of real estate on the entire lot of land, which is the panel. Flex panels, however, are generally run on smaller 18 by 24 panels just because they're far more fragile. So it's hard to run them through some of the drill processes and everything else when you have long stuff. However, we do extra long flex, but it's still kind of 18 inches wide. And we do rigid flex. So since I'm not getting a lot of questions, I hope my internet stays good, but I'll show you where I'm sitting right now. I'm in our rigid flex and flex shop down in Los Angeles. There's a massive factory. We own the whole building. We just bought everything brand new. We do all the flex and rigid flex down there. So you see all that going on. It's like huge. That's the whole wet process area, the drill, fabrication, imaging, different lights. Everything is like brand new. We have some of our assembly area where we assemble the flex in-house and stuff like that over there. But this is a massive factory, and we're doing this all here in the United States. We are not a broker, and we're just like all in on it. So David asked, say I don't need something in 3 days, but perhaps 3 weeks. Do you handle lower cost, longer term projects too? For sure. But there's a limit to that, right? It's like, for us, 10 days, first of all, it wholly depends on the technology. But let's say this is a set of boards, or this is technology that we were able to do it in 3 days anyways. The 3 week turn time would be the same price as like a 10-day turn time. Because at 3 week scale, it's so far out, we wouldn't even start it till like week 2. So yeah, you'd see a small pricing decrease there, and certainly a big price decrease from the 3 days to 3 weeks. But 3 weeks, 10 days, about the same. Just because we're a quick turn shop, we're just built to do things fast. If it's a high volume, then yeah, we would probably do things and ship in little batches over 3 weeks and then ship everything to you at the end. maybe that might be easier and we'd be able to drop costs on that end. But really, at the end of the day, when it comes down to stuff that's more of a commodity, if it's a 2, 4, 6 layer board that's just easy, anybody can build it. Where it comes down, where the price breaks really happen, are not on the physical part, it's on the intangibles, like how fast do you need it? Really, just how fast do you need it? How many people is it touching? What's the board itself? So, yeah, we can handle the lower cost, longer term projects too, and I get your quotes for that. But don't expect it to be like exponentially cheaper just because it's 3 weeks versus 10 days. But 3 days, it'll be a lot cheaper than 3 days. That kind of long-winded answer to your question. I wish I could. There are threads in here that I can go back and answer the questions just in real time, but I don't see anything else. What's up? Yeah, you could bring pizza. Another nice thing we do at the shop. Family. No, as I was telling them, another nice thing we do at the shop. I mean, 400 employees. We do everything in house. We're all. Yeah, 20-ounce copper PCB enables electric racing. So I was actually on the electric racing at Penn's team. Is this? So we've built 20-ounce copper PCBs. The last one we did was for a military customer. Yeah, we can absolutely do stuff like this. 20-ounce PCB, obviously, the big thing that changes just off the top of my head is the thickness of the trace. That has to increase quite a lot, but that's totally something that we could do. Just kind of looking at the article right now. Let's see, copper layer, yeah, we could totally do that. We do stuff like that all day long. 20 ounce, obviously a bit of a challenge, but we've done that in house, and we just did a board that was 20 ounce. About the last one I want to say 3 months ago, for a military type customer. Really, really interesting stuff. But that's kind of one of the things I was saying before when you asked me if I wanted pizza. It's like, it's a family business, but it's also like literally everyone at the shop is a part of the family. So when you come, the customer is also a part of the family. Meaning we want everybody to come to our shop. We're not a bureaucratic shop. We're not a shop that has all these secrets. Like, you can come and see every machine. So that's kind of what we do. So any resources you would recommend for learning more about how to build cost-effective boards? And I guess you mean more on how to design boards so that they're more cost-effective when it comes to getting to manufacturing in terms of actual technology and then the speed and everything else. I mean, really, there's all these resources, but I'll tell you, the price drivers are largely having buried and blind vias and anything that would really, which really that's the only real thing that would cause the board to have to undergo multiple drill or lamination cycles and just spend more time in the shop, spend more time in machines, and spend more time with people managing the job with labor costs and overtime. That is the main driver of cost. Number of layers, buried blind vias, some adders, stuff like that. And then maybe some specialty material, which we have very little control over. It's just the material is the material price. But generally, if you stay within standard spec, your boards are going to be as cheap as they could possibly be. But any other resources, at the top of my head, I can't really think of a specific one to point you to, but when I write that document, I will. And that's actually one of the things that we're working on with some of the ECAD people like Eagle and Altium. I actually just spoke with some of the guys at Altium yesterday on how we can actually get our engine built into their tool. So as you're designing boards in real time, you could do it. So Stephen asked, any issues dealing with or shipping to customers in Canada? So 0 issues dealing with or shipping to customers in Canada. And actually, some of the larger contract manufacturers in Canada get all of their quick turns from us. I won't really name names here, but like 8 Alberta circuits, there's stuff like that. There's a couple shops and larger CMs, contract manufacturers in Canada that do a really good job with assembly and stuff that maybe they have their local customers or whatever. We actually do all the quick turns, like 1 to 5 day, 1 to 7 day turns for them. So like I was saying, we're the board shop. We are so focused on building boards really fast and of high quality. If other people want to get our same end customer, that's fine. I just want to focus on selling you boards in a way that other people might not be able to help you. So no problem doing with Customers Canada. We have tons of them already. And a lot of them you may already be buying boards from and kind of paying that middleman fee. So if you came direct, you save a lot of money. Paul, do you sometimes get boards that take excessive e-test time? So 2 points on that. One, yes, but we use the most advanced testing machines in the industry. We have over 12, so we don't have any shortage on capacity. The test sequences are written by us. We e-test every single board that goes to our shop, and we never, ever, ever charge tool and test. Every other shop will charge you that, but it doesn't seem to make sense to me why you would charge for it, so we cut that out. The same way we don't charge for different solder mask colors. That makes no sense to me. Beyond if you have this insanely extreme solder mask color we had to order from some other venue or whatever, but we don't charge for e-test or anything like that. If it got to a point where I can't even imagine a case where this has really been true and we have tens of thousands of customers, so I think you'd be fine. But we do get boards like that, but nothing beyond what would be okay to handle. All right, someone's asking, do you sometimes get boards that take excessive e-test time? And I was like, yeah, but not really, and we don't charge for it because it doesn't make sense. If you're going to be building the boards, you have to test it.
Good quality.
It's just the right thing to do, good quality. And then we want to be double check and sure, so nothing leaves our shop that doesn't work. So do you ever see PCBR coming through? Yeah, all the time. I got one of the Osh Park flex or something here, but yeah, all the time. We see PCBR coming through. We can help you do some of the design on etching the copper and making sure it comes out with some of the learned knowledge we have. But yeah, you're welcome to send it over for a review, and we'd be happy to build it for you, especially if you have stuff for DEF CON. For sure, no problem. Cool.
We also do special pricing for students, right?
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, you still have time. If you got PCBR, you got stuff you want to get for DEF CON, we have DEF CON boards flying through the shop, all our shops, fab and assembly, pieces of both, whatever. But if you need help, you can do it. What's the last day I could send DEF CON stuff? When do you need it? If you want it by the 8th, if you just want assembly, that's entirely dependent on the number of unique line items. So the number of
availability.
Yeah, hold on. The number of unique line items, not just the total number of parts, and total number of parts, and the number of through-hole parts, and then the total number of boards. Best thing you could do, Morgan, is send me an email right there with your files, your turn time, and quantity. And if I'm reading this correctly, you already have the boards. You're going to send us the boards, and you want us to buy the parts and then assemble them. That's no problem at all. If you have the parts you want to send us, that's fine. We accept cut tape. You don't need reels. Okay, great. So boards are inbound. You have parts. You want to just send us everything and have us do it? That's easy. Given what I'm seeing, 30 pieces. I don't know how many boards you have. Just send me an email. More than likely, I can take care of it. Yeah, 50 boards, 30 unique line items, or 30 total pieces, and how many through-hole parts? Like doing those, we could certainly do them. But when you say Thursday, is that tomorrow or next Thursday? Because then we got a whole week. That's easy. I'm thinking, can we do this on a one-day turn? Probably. 90 total pieces per board, 30 unique line items per board. Next Thursday, yeah. How many through-hole parts? The answer is already yes. You can easily get those done for you. Yeah, so just send me your bill of materials, your Gerbers, and all that taken care of. That's what I'm saying. Great customer service. Other shops, they care more about if their employees are wearing slacks than if they're building boards that work for their customer. True. And especially when you come to the California shops, those are generally the best in the country, growing at the only ones that are really growing at any sort of rate that I'd want to talk about, and kind of growing the customer base, putting a lot of money, like millions of dollars back into the shop and handling the customers properly. Yeah. Do you wear slacks there? We do not wear slacks. I'm wearing cherry socks with like
jeans,
kind of ripped blue jeans and a t-shirt. Slacks are like suit pants. That was just more of a joke. Like you got shops in the Midwest. It's like you gotta get your hands dirty. If you have a problem in the shop and you're like, yo, my board, it's a one-day turn, what the hell's going on? And you call me, I'll literally walk to the shop and I'll FaceTime you a video of your board and be like, here it is. Zero bureaucracy. You can call anybody at this company anytime. We're here for the customer. That's the way it has to be. And that's why we built a business that's arguably the most profitable shop in the country today, doing this stuff. Servicing the end customer, why we started PCBlayout.com, why I'm involved with DebuggAR. That's the business that we're in. And we just got pizza. Thank you for this.
For all the employees.
Yeah, all the employees got pizza. We get lunch for everybody almost every day. So Dan said, excuse me if I'm eating. Dan said you mentioned a solder resist printer, right? A solder mask printer. Solder mask printer. How's that different? How's that different from traditional resist application? What's the traditional application method?
This is not solder. This is not resist. This is strictly solder mask.
Exactly. It's not solder resist. Resist is just the coat you run it through. That's like not even a real process. It's easy. Solder mask. We're the only ones in the entire United States that has this machine that's fully automated. The process today is very much to screen printing for Legend. It's the same thing. You put the coat on, you have to image it, put the resist on it, you put the coat of color on it, whatever color you want your board to be.
Expose, develop.
Yeah, you expose it, you develop it. It's like hours-long process to bake it. This way it's done very similar to the way a Legend printer is done. You run it through the machine, it's kind of inking it, and it's coating it, and it's curing it at the same time. So you save 2+ hours per job, which, like I said, 10%.
On a one-day turn.
On a one-day turn, it's 10%. Makes all the difference in the world to get your board to you on time, which is why we invest in all these kind of incremental advantages at the shop. That machine was over $700,000. But it's done because over time, we're able to get you more one-day turns faster. It's no problem. It's better for the customer. What if I have a problem with my board? Like I said before, we will let you know way ahead of time if you have issues, not like your classic CM that lets you know when it's supposed to ship. Oh, we're going to be a day late. I'll email you. Like, I'll be way ahead of it and call you. But if you have a problem with like something in the shop, we'll let you know. If you have a problem with something on your files, we'll let you know right away. And we're just, the communication channels there. Exactly. That's why we run a DFM, DRC, DFA up front. So I got a USB-C connector that connects to the edge of the board, pins on both sides. Is this any more difficult to assemble? No. And we have selective solder, we have hand assembly, there's no problem at all. Pins on both sides, easy. Double-sided assembly, no problem. So yeah, we do double-sided assembly all day long. We got over 10 lines, more than pretty much any other shop in the country at this scale. And all we do is protos, meaning we'll literally assemble 1 to 10 to 50 boards in a day. Like, it's just no problem. It's what we do. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, right? Ordering the parts, kitting it, making sure the right parts arrived, especially when you send a kit. We have to do the full verification, do everything. We have our own proprietary system to load, pick, and place with cut tape, applying paste, running the software to check the BOM. There's a lot of stuff involved, but that's why we have a big team. And the software is literally like the secret. That's why we've been able to be successful.
If you're ever in Denver, visit us.
Yeah, so we got 4 factories, 2 in the Bay Area, board and assembly shop in the Bay Area, 1 in, that's a rigid shop in the Bay. In Los Angeles, we have our flex and rigid flex, which is where I'm sitting right now. And in Denver, we have our larger quick turn assembly shop. You can always come see our shop. I invite everybody to come see it. Like I said before, it's interesting. You'll learn a lot. We have 0 secrets. We're actually doing a Hackaday event in the new year. So after SuperCon in Jan or Feb, details haven't been finalized. We're going to do a Hackaday competition. We're going to invite everybody to the shop in Denver. And then once we kind of get the details and kinks worked out of that event, we're going to take this event everywhere, meaning our shop in the Bay Area, LA, everything. But in the meantime, you can send me an email. You can reach out to me, whatever, and come see our shop anytime.
Matt. It'll be Matt, right?
Yeah, but he's not there anymore.
Oh.
So it's, right?
But he's part of it.
Yeah, he works at Autodesk. What do you mean? So that's that. So
we also can populate from cut tape, which is
that's what I was saying. We populate from cut tape. We don't need stencils. And that's on the assembly side. When it comes to the fab, it's like same deal. You send us your files, we'll take it. If you have a layout you need help with, we'll help you with it because we do and own PCBlayout.com. We do like hundreds of different layouts for customers all over, all day long. And these are layouts done in 24 hours, no problem. So design, manufacturing, assembly, all in-house. We don't do, even our sales team, we don't hire reps. Everybody's in-house. They come train with us. They get a part of our culture, the experience. It's just everything is all in on the company and the customer. That's our business. I don't know how long these are supposed to go, because I could sit here and talk about the companies forever. Take that outside, please. Dan, how long are these supposed to go? I could sit here forever, but I just I want to give you guys like my number. You could literally FaceTime me anytime, and we could just talk about the business or whatever. So we usually go now. Yeah, I'll hang out for a few more minutes. No problem. This is great. This pizza's so good. My personal operating system of choice. So, both good questions. My OS of choice is iOS. Sorry. I like it. It's easy. For what I need to do, it's great. Mac's fine. And then that's actually why we built DebuggAR. Well, not because of me. The actual data showed that iOS was still the majority of people, no matter what it might look like on Twitter or whatever, in this community. From all our beta testers, for DebuggAR, the debugging augmented reality tool, we did that. But I say Mac. But what? Dan asks, if you're running all of these machines in 3 shifts, when do you schedule downtime for maintenance? So that's the thing. There's no downtime for maintenance. To counteract that, we literally have at minimum 2 of every single machine in the shop, from your wet process, your pulse plating, your plating tanks, to the etcher, to the imaging machines, etc. All of these are done twofold. So if anything goes down, we are able to continue running the shop, and we actually have nearly like our whole maintenance team is almost specifically trained on every machine in the shop, and we keep the spares in house. So we're able to kind of fix things on the fly beyond, up to a point where we may need to get in the one maintenance guy the particular machine uses that's in Detroit, and it's like a bunch of drama. So we're like, we just need to learn how to fix stuff ourselves, and that's kind of how we do it. 2 of everything in the shop at minimum, and we keep all the maintenance stuff, and our maintenance people are trained, and we just kind of figure out how to hack stuff in. Operating system on desktop and machines in the fab is all run through Windows. That is a Slack noise. So we use Slack at all of our companies. One other thing that's probably unlike other fab shops, we do it all here. So sorry, I'm getting Slack left and right. Everyone's like, dude, you sound terrible on the screen. Oh, Mark. Okay, 2 questions. What technical articles could we write that you guys would like to read? Is that, Mark, is that to me or is that to the rest of the guys? Mark, the pizza's here. I know you're in LA close by, so come swing by and grab some. We got pizza for everybody today. Question for the audience. That's a great question. So Mark has just joined us, literally in the chat, but also our group of companies. And Mark is going to be writing a whole set of articles in a way that nobody else has done before, because we've given him unlimited reign for now to do whatever he wants and write any sort of article and any sort of experiment that you could possibly want to do. Mark is going to be the guy to do it with me and everybody else. So any technical articles, just throw them out there. Like somebody asked, what's a good resource for designing boards in a way that's really manufacturable and cost effective? That'd be a good one. Question, and then where's the pizza? That pizza's there. CP Chrome asks, does the debug application work? Yes, it does. The debug application absolutely works. And it's every single day we're releasing new builds. But if you go to DebuggAR.com, I typed in like 4 places in this thing. I'll just do it again. You can go there and sign in, and or not sign in, just sign up for the beta, and then you get a download link from us personally. You'll be able to play with it. So in real time, you'll be able to upload your files and overlay Nets components layers and parse them and kind of everything else. That's one. But going forward, you're gonna have all the integrations and the new releases with the ability to integrate your test and measurement equipment, the ability to collaborate and screen share in real time and have other people a part of it, and the ability to do some sort of hardware version tracking like a Jira, but also write up and kind of develop in the app your own test sequences. So your technician or whoever yourself, if you want to duplicate an item or anything, you can set it up so when the board comes into view, it'll say, run this test, step 1, assemble this component. For assembly or for board bring up, test these points, your power ground, make sure they're not shorted, and it'll highlight 2 boxes, tell you where to probe, take a picture, record the measurement, go to the next test sequence, and just change the game for how debugging and testing is done. So that was a long answer. The short answer is yes, it works right now. Go ahead and sign up for the beta, and looking forward to working with you. And this pizza is incredible, so apologize for eating on this call. But they also scheduled a lunch call. So it won't be like Jira. That's the big differentiator. We're not fans of Jira either. And when I was a hardware engineer, thank you. We will not make it like Jira, but it will do what Jira aims to do for software and occasionally is strangled and forced to do by hardware teams. That's not a crazy idea, Dan. That's the right idea. That's exactly where we want this application to go. Once the AR and kind of the basic stuff is finalized, which at this point it kind of is, I want it to run on a scope. In fact, I want the scope to run on DebuggAR. In real time, you're probing and you see your measurement right there overlaid onto your board. And maybe you could take that and you compare it to what's also on the screen, which is your SPICE simulation output that you ran in the CAD tool, like on Autodesk Eagle, and even to some extent on Altium. You can kind of have that done. So that's not a crazy idea. It's totally normal. But the question on Jira, Jira is not built for hardware right now at all. And hardware is very picture-based, very sequence-based. And it's just different. So that's kind of the idea on that, is that we'd be able to make it heavily image-based in the app, and it would really start as like an add-on to Jira to make it easier and more useful for hardware engineers, and then kind of go from there. CP Chrome, will it be able to scope in as much as digital scopes are able to? Are you going to interface with the scope or just use some camera? So it's really just reading a digital output, similar to the way that you would take a picture with your phone and pictorially be able to view the voltage over time signal or whatever. It's going through this. Right now it interfaces. Wait, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Digital scope is in microscope, not oscilloscope. That makes more sense. Will it be able to? Are you talking about microscopes or oscilloscopes? Because I wanted to interface with both. So the camera on an iPad and an iPhone is actually incredibly resolute, but there is a point at which you need to get down to the very, very fine level microscope. Obviously, you need to get down to the very fine level to see pin 4 on a 64 pin TQFP or whatever. So at that level, yeah, for sure, we want to interface with an additional camera or microscope that you can use, and that is certainly part of the roadmap. For now, you can zoom in with the AR and get pretty damn close, and the AR will also follow, meaning you do not need to have the whole board in view. You can get down to the kind of small level and see things. But ultimately, yeah, all these integrations are desired and also necessary to really be a part of the test environment, for sure. And again, I'm going to go back and answer all these questions in a document and submit the document so anybody can reference down the road and just kind of have all the answers. So if you're not getting all of it right now, you're missing it, or you're joining us kind of late, it's going to be all there in the document in the next day, for sure. The format's great. I need lunch in my face. Drop your line about something. So you got my email, and it should be somewhere in the description as well, Morgan. So send it to me. Tony Stark using Jarvis to debug PCBs. Yep. Cheers. And Morgan, if you're in SF for Oakland, I think I saw that in your thing. We should totally meet up in the Bay Area, and then our team for debuggers up there in San Francisco as well. So let's plan to meet up. That'd be awesome. I'd love to get some input from your side on that, and then on any other fab assembly, just be good to kind of interface and get more voice customer. Oh, I think I remember who you are. Without the face, you got the pirate thing. But yeah, we love a visit anytime. But now that you know about the assembly stuff, shoot me a line and we'll take care of you. I had the coffin. Man, I met so many people there. I apologize. If I saw your face, I'd recognize you for sure. The coffin. So that's that. Well, we're going to an hour. We'll have to get me here, get back to work. No, I don't want to get to work, but lunch is fine. Awesome. Yeah, the transcripts can be posted. Yep, the link to the live stream recording and any docs Mihir provides. Great. And I'm just literally going to eat here my pizza just because I'm hungry. So I'll just stick around for a little bit and answer questions. Whatever you guys have for me, that's fine. And yeah, like I said, anybody that for DebuggAR, that's like a really big focus right now, just because, yeah, live stream pizza eating. This is what people do on Twitch all the time, right? What I do for fun. So when I'm in LA, I like to surf a lot. Well, honestly, my time thanks, Trevor. In my free time, honestly, it's just like, what are we doing for the end customer? Which may sound weird and like obsessive, but that's just how we view the business. There's a reason we started PCBlayout.com. There's a reason I'm like kind of running and involved with DebuggAR. Like, our business is doing great. I don't have to do any of those things, but it's like, you could do more and help the customer. And these are things that are fun. And I'm an engineer and I want to get more involved in the design side at all times anyways, just naturally. So that's kind of what it is. Like right now, any time that I'm not doing anything specifically for Royal, I'm just like so focused on DebuggAR and what can we do to improve that test and debug experience and give more information on one screen to people that are debugging and make it more of an efficient process and make it more of an educated process, and you see things in real time and they're all overlaid. And that's kind of what it is. Yeah, my job is my hobby. That totally. Like, we started these things because it's almost like I have more time at work. Let's do something else. That's what that is. Okay, also, this Domino's pizza is incredible. Yeah, so Mark asked, don't you also get to work alongside your brother and father? Yeah, so my dad is the entrepreneur. I'm not. My dad started essentially all these manufacturing businesses and has grown them like literally 100x in terms of revenue since when they bought them, which was like nothing over 15 years ago, and started them. And working with him is awesome because we fight every day, but it's like there's a lot of merit to things that he has to say. But also, when you've been so boiled down the weeds on a very kind of niche business for the last better part of a decade, a lot of things outside, especially the customer behavior and things, have changed. And that's why my brother and I have a really exciting mission and way that we get to work through just like bringing all this stuff to 2019, like the customer experience, how everything is so software driven, why we built this API. Like, that was not necessary at all, but it's actually been great for a few of the integrations we've done, one of which is a company called Patcher. It's a PCB, it's an ECAD tool, it's a newer one, and they are going to start offering manufacturing services, and we're doing all the boards, and we gave them our API. So we're like, why even come to us directly? Just order from Patcher. You're already in the tool. They have special incentives and things for you to order from them. And we build the boards in the back end, and you just interface with the one group that you've already been working with, and that's great. So things like that we've been able to do, my brother and I, and the actual implementation, I take no credit for. My brother's been the one to do all that. He's like a literal brilliant genius software engineer. We all studied electrical engineering, but then he went way more on the software side. So he's done like 500 projects and just like built up this whole next level interface and team that's taken this company to the next level internally, especially. So yeah, it's nice to work alongside them. But then I never get a break. But I never did anyways. You know, if I come home or I'm visiting them, it's like work stuff, but it's fun. It's like, what can we do better? What about trying this? Let's do this next week. Let's just do it. There are a lot of families that work at Royal. Like people in plating, production manager, everything. I mean, we have like over 10 different families, like father-son teams, daughters, everybody that's just in the group. So it's a pretty awesome team. And the whole company is like a family, like I said before. Like everybody gets free lunch, we take care of everybody. So yeah. And we're looking for like voice of customer is so important. If anyone here has any questions or things that they want to ask or reach out for, like we are totally open, but we're also very interested in just hearing from you guys on what works, what doesn't, what you guys enjoy, what sucks about ordering boards, what sucks about using us that we can improve on. Those are all totally valid things that we want to understand. So yeah, that's kind of the deal on that. What is Mark posting? This is just a weird, oh God, what did they post? I look like I'm balding in that photo, and I don't. Anyways, that's at our factory in Hollister, beautiful town. I encourage everybody to come visit if they get a chance. I've since gotten a tan since I moved to Los Angeles more full time, but I'm going back to San Francisco soon to kind of focus on DebuggAR. But that's my brother Mihir, and that's me. I also look short in that picture, but that doesn't matter. We build great boards, great customer service. That's our business. Okay, I'm kind of done with my pizza, and I do have a lot of things that I need to do. So I'm going to log off. But this has been a lot of fun. And again, if anyone has any questions about anything, you can email me. And then if I establish that you're like somewhat of a normal person, I'll give you my number. And then you could FaceTime me anytime or call me or whatever. Just like anything with boards, I could have hours long discussions on. That's my whole life. So very, very interested in doing all that. Thanks, guys. This was a lot of fun. And I'll write up the answers to everything and submit it within the next day to Dan in this chat. Goodbye.